Hey guys, I want to talk about some budget sharpening tools for your knives. I just kind of on the kick now. I want to kind of get into doing more videos about EDC gear and budget gear, because that's really where this channel started, and I think it's where we need to kind of move back to, because viewership has been down in the last couple of months, and I think what we're looking for here is the small EDC stuff. So I wanted to show you some cheap, inexpensive things to sharpen your blades with. One, of course, is your simple kitchen sharpening steel. Now, believe it or not, guys, the best place to get these is actually thrift stores. Believe it or not, they always have a section for silverware. And most people go rummaging through the silverware looking for actual silver, looking for silver spoons and things like that they can make money off. But people tend to ignore these sharpening steels, which you see here, and they don't buy them because really they're not worth anything. And so it's very easy to get these things for like $1 at a thrift store. And what a sharpening steel is for? A sharpening steel does not sharpen. What it does is realigns the edge of your blade. So, for example, say you have a knife with a very fine edge. Say it has a very deep hollow grind or just a very delicate edge to it. Lots of times, especially if you're doing something like processing a deer or something like that, where you may hit bones and things like that, it can definitely take your edge and almost kind of bend it a little bit. And what a steel does is it will realign that edge for you, especially if you do it in a very consistent angle. And you typically see these used with kitchen knives, because kitchen knives, really don't tend to get dull. They just tend to, that edge tends to bend out a little bit. So oftentimes when you're using a, like a thin knife to process game, sometimes it's good to have a steel on hand, because it really will let you touch that edge up really quick and keep it, aligned, which makes your sharpening even easier when you do come to that time to sharpen it. So good thing, you can get them for like $1 at thrift shows. You can also get them at flea markets, things like that. People sell stuff like this at flea markets for next to nothing. You don't need a good quality one. They're very handy to have. And the next thing is a ceramic rod. Yep, in rod we trust. Old Simpsons reference there to those who are probably closer to my age. You can get these things on like eBay or the internet for literally nothing, like $1, $2. And people will actually go to stores and pay like $8 or $10 for a ceramic sharpening rod with a handle. So you can literally carve your own handle out of wood, glue it together, and you can have a really nice ceramic sharpening rod for like $2. And I don't even bother putting the handles on them, guys, because they work just fine like this. You just got to be real careful not to drop them, because they do break easy. Now, what do you need ceramic for? Ceramic is harder than steel. So what ends up happening is, that's why a lot of, nowadays you see a lot of people going to the ceramic knives, which, great idea in principle, but it's too brittle and they break too easy. A ceramic knife is great a ceramic rod is great for putting that final edge onto your blade. So lots of times after I sharpen with a stone, what I like to do is use a ceramic rod like this to hone the edge. Very light, even strokes down it, and it will put that kind of razor finish. And I actually figured this out years and years ago. Someone was selling them on eBay you can buy like 5 for $1. And I bought like 5 of them, and I used them over the years, and they all managed to get broken over the years because dropped them or they fell or just whatever. And I picked up some new one recently, and of course like prices have gone up a little bit now, but it's also prices are up. But I've always found that they're very good for putting that final edge. They're not going to take off steel because the ceramic is so fine. It's not going to take off steel in large quantity. So if you try to sharpen your knife with this, you're not going to get a lot done, because it's only going to take little tiny, minute, very fine shavings off of that edge. This is really more for finish work, or just to touch up that edge. Say you are using something and the edge is you know, the edge is still good. You know, you just need that little touch up to it. This is what I use it for. This is something I keep handy when I am processing a deer. Actually, I'll use the two of these, keep the two of these handy, because if you have a good knife and say it's starting to dull on you a little bit, a couple licks on the steel and a couple licks on the ceramic, and you're back in business. It's a good way to keep the edge sharp with just, you know, a couple of seconds of work in between. So these are them, just two low budget sharpening tools you can have and pick up and keep, and it makes it a lot easier for, you know, those kind of mundane tasks of, you know, particularly processing animals. You know, if you're really going to be doing some hard wood carving or something like that, oftentimes it's not the best way to do it because the edge is going to need to be reformed a little bit with a stone. But these are great ways to finish off your edge, and they're so cheap and so easy to buy. I just kind of had to do a video on them. So